Hello, my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then welcome to my channel. And today's video is going to be my spoiler-free review for This Wicked Fate by Kalynn Bayron, which is the sequel to This Poison Heart. Sequel and finale, that is. The content warnings for both of these books will be linked down below in the description, along with my spoiler-free review and journal with me for This Poison Heart. And I also do have a journal with me for Cinderella is Dead. That will all be linked down below in the description. And while this is a spoiler-free review for This Wicked Fate, it is a sequel, so I definitely recommend having read This Poison Heart before watching this video. So with that, let's go ahead and start with the synopsis. This Poison Heart is a duology that follows our main character who has a hidden power over plants. When she inherits a house from her birth mother, she also gains a space to test out her powers. But as she begins to bring the garden back to life, she also discovers that she has inherited a dark secret, and her ancestors are not going to let her be until she accepts that she is the keeper of the dark power of the Poison Garden. We're going to start this video off with some of my brief thoughts about This Poison Heart, mostly because I want to hype this book every chance I even get like a little bit of an excuse to. It was a 5-star read for me, a very strong 5-star read. It's one of my favorite books I've read so far this year. It introduced me to a mystery concept and idea that I have grown to love and actively seek out in other books. And I loved its mysterious atmosphere and the storyline, along with the characters and the pacing, among other things as well that we'll probably end up talking about more later, because there was just so much that I enjoyed and loved about book one. Towards the end of This Poison Heart, I was fully prepared for the story to just keep continuing. I knew at that time that I wanted more from the ending, but what I discovered after reading This Wicked Fate is that I probably would have preferred just more in that book, and not necessarily a sequel. At the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, but it was a preference that I was surprised that I had. This Wicked Fate also did come off as more adventurous than mysterious to me, although it definitely does still have those mysterious elements to it. I did feel an atmosphere and tone shift while reading. As for the characters, Cersei was by far the standout for me. But I do think this series does have a really fun and interesting cast of characters, including our main character whose journey I have just really loved following over the course of these two books. I also think this series does heartwarming family dynamics and kind of just exploration of family dynamics really well. And now it's time to unfortunately talk about a dynamic that I did not love. This Poison Heart was not a book that I would call romance heavy by any means. There was certainly something there, and I did come out of it thinking that it was cute, but I also thought it was kind of insta-lovey, and I expected going into this book that it would get more development and just explored more, and it wasn't. And I do really wish we got to see more like getting together scenes or feelings exploration or just something. It really felt just like 100% established relationship, and I just really don't feel like the series has done enough to support and develop these two. What I do love is how queer and sapphic this series is. There's more besides our main romance, and it was really lovely to read and just like have exist. Something else that I thought was super lovely were all of the descriptions of the garden and plant magic. This was something that I was really excited about going into This Poison Heart, and that book delivered, and then this book also delivered. And also exceeded my expectations, which was not an easy feat because my expectations going in were pretty high, but they did it. And I love that they did it because those descriptions were really beautiful and also really cool. As for this story, there were aspects of it that I enjoyed. There was humor that made me smile, even though I do think This Poison Heart was ultimately more successful in that. On that note, I do really like the way everything was wrapped up, even though I do think certain new characters could have used more development or even just establishment in the series. And overall, I did face a little bit of trouble like really getting into this story, which with This Poison Heart, I really didn't have any trouble at all. I think I had the opposite problem actually, where I was just too immersed and I didn't want to ever leave. But this did have a lot that I liked. There were reveals and new characters that I was really excited to see. I am a little bit conflicted about my rating for this book, but it is somewhere in between a 3.75 and a 4-star. I really want to give it the 4, so I think I'm going to, which is going to bring me to a 4.5 out of 5 stars for this duology as a whole. Overall, I'm really happy that I read this series, and I'm excited to see what this author does in the future. I say this a lot on my channel, but this author does seem to have just some really interesting and cool concepts, and just overall premises and just amazing ideas. So yeah, I will definitely be reading more Kalynn Bayron in the future, and I'm so excited to see what comes next. And then also just like gorgeous and amazing covers, by the way, and I just needed to say that before I ended this video because it needs to be said. Okay, so that is all I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!